Hello class, this is Dr. Ogilvy. I'm going to give you a tour of the course website for the fall semester histology online course, Bio 530J30. This is the welcome page, and it's under announcements, and I call all of my announcements bulletins. So this is the first one, and if you registered after yesterday, then you might want to click here where you can retrieve a PDF of the email I sent to the class yesterday. If you look over here on the side in the menu, it's pretty self-explanatory. Several of you have already introduced yourself, and this is the instructions for introducing yourself. It's actually a part of the discussion board, and you can see that there are actually 15 of the class that have introduced themselves. Here over on the side where it says course feedback information, right between feedback information, you will see survey link occur, because after the syllabus quiz closes next Friday, August 26th, we will put a couple surveys here asking your experience with WebMic and BioLucida. The most important thing you can do right now is be sure you have the textbook, the lab manual. Make sure that you've got WebMic set up and BioLucida. Most everything here is pretty self-explanatory. Do follow the check-in and get started. And actually, I'm looking at the course check-in page in a student view on Blackboard, and actually you're instructed to mark the page reviewed. And if you see down here, I haven't marked this page reviewed as a student. Until I do, I won't be able to access the lectures and the quizzes and things like that. So with that in mind, clicking on course modules in this student view, this is all I see. I see the module information, I see an overview of lectures, and I see a conditional release of the course resources. And all the course module folders will occur below here once we've satisfied items 5, 6, and 7. I do want to point out the overview of the lectures. If you click on this PDF, you'll be able to see the content. You can see an overview of the average number of topics per lecture and the average number of minutes per topic to go through the narrated lectures. And to watch all 32 lectures one time is actually 15.6 hours. And if for each content topic slide in each lecture, I show that here. And I'm probably going to revise this PDF so I can take these the blue font out and the underline, because this suggests that it links to something and it doesn't. So for the introduction lecture, for example, it'll take 36 minutes to watch it one time. It has 13 topics, and each topic is 2.78 minutes. So all the lectures are divided in chunks, and that's one of the buzzwords now in online teaching and learning, is to put your subject matter out there, not in continuous lecture, but put it in chunks. So in each lecture you can go back and forth by clicking on the links within the lecture. The other feature here is that we, for the first time, have given you access to all the PDFs of the lectures. Now, you cannot watch the narrated lectures here. For example, the respiratory lecture, you can jump ahead and actually download and go through and get an idea of the lecture on the respiratory tract and lung. So I think that's a pretty good feature to give you a good feel of what lies before you in this course. Okay, so I'm not being able to see anything below here, and in a moment I'm going to change to a different view after as a student, I took the syllabus quiz, I marked the course check-in page reviewed, and I took both sample tests. And speaking of the sample tests, if you click on the quiz and exam information, then we provide detailed information about all the quizzes and type in answers. And down here, don't fail to watch these videos, especially the one on how to view your My Grades. And they're both as a screencast and a YouTube video. And up here in the sample tests, we provide a how to review tests in Blackboard here also. And then with the sample tests, we provide these so that you have a good idea of what the questions are like in the course. And once you actually review them, and I will show you in another view how you can see the feedback for each of the questions, and it's really very valuable because it gets you at ease and actually gives some insight in the content of the course. And then, of course, after installing Biolucida, you can take Part B of the sample exams, and the purpose of that is to give you a feel of questions in the course that will be asked about virtual slides, where you take the quiz within within Blackboard, but within Biolucida. Okay, so and then with WebMic, be sure that you have placed within Java configuration, whether you're using a Mac or a PC, and you put the URLs. You can put all four in here in the Java configuration. You have adequate instruction for how to do that, and the URLs accessing the different servers of WebMic will not work until you do that. And then, of course, Google Chrome, there's a special maneuver you can do to make Google Chrome after you've configured the Java for Google on your PC or Mac. Google Chrome will not run WebMic until you've downloaded this IE tab and set that up. And so we've got orientation to the WebMic virtual microscope. We've got information how to interact with the histology lab exercises, the WebMic manual, and also we provide the first 4 units of the histology lab exercises for those who have not been able to get the lab manual at this point. Okay, so and then Biolucida. I think the instructions for installing Biolucida are fairly clear, but this is where you find all the guidance, including a video, and also tips for viewing specimens in a Biolucida viewer. And if you're on campus, where you can access Biolucida on campus, but you have to set up your clouds each time as you do on your desktop or laptop. Okay, so now jumping back up here, the graded quizzes and exams. Of course, I don't see any of those, and I'll address that later. And of course, here the reminder of the conditions, the criteria you must meet in order to see all these folders below. Special requirements. There are no special requirements for undergraduate students, but for graduate students and honors college students, there are special requirements. And I've already sent a separate group email to those groups, informing them. And so when they click on special requirements, they'll see the folder unique to them about that special requirement. The discussion board is very important. It's highly structured, and you can see that the introductions is linked to the discussion board, and 15 people have introduced themselves. And if you see links here, it's because I have put in, for example, if you go here, for each of the module quizzes, when you finish the quiz and the quiz closes, we give you the chance to review your quiz, and you can see the correct answers if you got them. If you didn't get it correct, you won't see the correct answers, but you can post, and hopefully you will post in the correct forum For example, in the first module quiz, if you have a question about Part A, then just simply click on Part A and pose your question here. You just reply to my post in Part A and state exactly the number, the question number in your quiz, and a lead-in statement, and whether you just want explanation or you're challenging a question. And in the discussion board, we have a forum for almost everything in the course, including typos and errors and webmic technical problems, etc., etc. So get familiar, stay update with the discussion board. If you see unread posts over here, like these 15 or here, then if you just click on that rather than click to open here, then it will take you right to the unread posts you have. So that's a good way of keeping up with everything. All right, let's pause this a minute and see what our next topic's going to be. Okay, with the email, you can actually email most anybody in the course, but you will. There are 3 groups in the course, and in the next view, when I get to the to my student view, I will show you how you can email within your group. Okay, and my grades, now I won't be able to see, well, yes I can. When you look in my grades, of course this is a reflection of the Grade Center in my administrative view. Now if you've introduced yourself and I've graded it, you'll see a green check mark over here for class introductions. Be sure to view the description for each of these items. It very thoroughly explains you know, that the quiz and exam points are the total of all the module quizzes, the syllabus quiz, midterm, and final exam. The lecture quiz points are the accumulation of the percent of lecture quizzes you have successfully got perfect scores in, and view the description. It explains how those are added, and at the end of the course, the lecture quiz points will be added to the total quiz and exam points, and extra credit, any extra credit will be added on. But I never give a total. It's up to you to add these in. Remember, you know, what you're going to divide by: 1,000 if you're points if you're undergraduate, and 1,100 if you're either honors students or graduate students. So over here is where you're going to see your sample quizzes, and if you've taken them, and in the next view I've actually taken one, so I'll show you how to review that. Okay, so and then each of your lectures, when you finish a lecture and you have answered all the questions correctly and submitted it, you'll see a green check mark here, and the green check marks should also add up to the percent of 32 lectures that you have completed, lecture quizzes. Okay, so and then under outside resources, be sure to explore all these. There are all kinds of helpful things in here, including color deficiency and how you can work around that, test anxiety, etc. So I invite you to really explore these, and once you've gone through the lecture and the lab and a given topic, either right then or as you're reviewing for a module quiz or midterm and final, go out and use the outside resources. That will reinforce what you're learning. And if you study first in the course resources, then you go outside, you have discrimination of what really is helpful and what's not. Okay, so I'm going to pause this now and change my view here. Okay, now this is my student login, and I have actually I have taken the syllabus quiz. I've marked the course check-in page reviewed, and I've taken both sample tests and got a perfect score of 20. So when I click on modules here, you see I see all the folders to access the learning outcomes for each module here that you can download, and you can go through those and kind of check off, you know, what you're studying. Also, this is showing the assignments And by the way, this information right here is the same as you can get if you go to the syllabus and you go to the course schedule. Now this course schedule and assignment is a very important document to download, either print it out or keep it handy on your computer, because you've got a complete overview of the entire course right here with times and everything. And it's up to you to put on your calendar, and you're responsible for these deadlines. We try to be fair and just, but we can only allow we really don't allow any exceptions that are just due to negligence. Okay, so now going back to the module folders where I was, then in each of the module folders, not only we have a repetition of that assignment for the module and the learning outcomes up under here, but here are where the lectures are. Now, when you click on this to watch the lecture, you go through the narrated lecture. That's the narrated lecture. And so if I click on this, see, it's going to open up, and I click here to launch the lecture, and then here comes the lecture itself. And now I'm speaking here, and so that's just the way you access that lecture. And I'm going to go back now, and then you can download here or in the other place where I gave you all the PDFs of the lectures for the whole course, but the same PDF is available here for downloading. Now when you watch these lectures and you get a perfect score on each of the syllabus questions in the lecture, you have to do that within the module period. But after the module 1 closes, for example, you will see the same lectures and the same PDFs. But those are duplicates, and they're set so that you can no longer earn points for taking the lecture quizzes. So don't neglect and then think that you can make up later on in the course and go back to module 1 and get credit for the lecture quizzes, because it will not happen. Okay, so the other thing that's not available is you will never see these module quiz folders. For the first module quiz is available now. So there are some hints for taking the quiz and exam. And then here is module 1 quiz part A, which you have access to right now. And then the instructions for taking part B, and then click on the take part B. Okay, I think now one other thing I want to point out is that the class has been, I have formed 3 groups. We've got graduate students fall semester. There are 2 members. We got honors college students fall, and there are 12 members. And we've had undergraduate students fall, and about 58 or 59. Now, when you are logged in, you will see only one of these groups, depending on what group you're in. But I have myself as a member, as a student view, a member of all 3 groups. So, for example, if you click on graduate students, then you can exchange files. You can do a group blog. You can have a running discussion within your group. You can send emails to any member in the group. See, these are the 3 individuals. You can send to the whole group or individuals. You can go to the group home page, and that's where you see the members and you see the different tools. There are no group assignments here. I put those assignments under the special requirements. And I may actually, for the honors students and the graduate students, I may actually add that assignment here. But for now, it's not available there. So this is a way to communicate within your groups. With the honors college students, you see here are the members, and also the largest group are the undergraduates. So I trust that you will find this group interaction useful, and I will be able to look in on any discussion. However, do not post, do not send an email or send or post something on the open discussion on the group discussion board for communicating the things that I will monitor always is the main discussion board. That's where you need to post. Only post within the group discussion board those things you want to discuss among each other. I can't emphasize that enough because I'm not going to be checking in on these groups. That's really for the groups to interchange, and I will look in occasionally. But you must use the discussion board here. Now, one last thing in my grades, you see, I took the I have a 24.575. I think there was one question that I didn't answer correctly. You see, I do have 10 points credit now for the class introductions, and that's been graded for me. And then you see I have a perfect score. Now, in any one of these, like let's say for Part B, you wanted to review Part A, you can do that directly in Blackboard, and you go to the calculated grade over here, and then all of a sudden you're looking at the whole test, and you're seeing the answers, and you see I let you view the entire thing here so you can actually see all the answers here, because this is obviously you don't know the answers, but we wanted to give you a chance to be exposed to the things. So now I have to get back here to my grades. I think what I have to do to read this is say OK down here. Okay, so now if I go back to my grades, now to review Part B with the virtual slides, you can review this in here, but it's best to go and log in within BioLucida in Blackboard and then go in My Grades and review Part B, because then you will still have the two tabs and it won't be complicated opening up numerous browsers, windows whenever you, and I'll just demonstrate that for a minute here, because here's the grade that I had. And if I click on this to access it, then it's going to open up a second window, and then I've got to go and click on this, and then I get another floating window over here like this. So I've got all kinds of windows open, and that is just too cumbersome. So if you go within BioLucida, log into Blackboard, and review your Part B of any module quiz or midterm or final exam, then you'll still have the tabs and you will not be frustrated. Okay, so now I'm going to go back to my grades again, and I think we're about finished here. Okay, now again, if you'll see your scores for module quizzes, and you'll be able to review them after the deadline, as I've described. And what I see now is only the lectures for the first module. And then when the second module, when they're released after the deadline of the first module, which is September the 12th, then you will see added to this the lectures, grades, the check mark if you completed the lecture quizzes, and etc. for the second module, and so on during the course. So I think this has come almost 25 minutes, but I hope it's worthwhile for you and it gets you oriented. Do post on the discussion board any requests for help, and remember that you can always email me in an emergency if you have a personal issue, if you are concerned about your grade and your progress in the course. But as far as everything else, course content, don't be embarrassed if you don't know something. in the content, just put it out here and ask for help and understanding. That's what it's for. Okay, so good luck, and I trust all of you will learn histology and be able to earn the grade that you're happy with.